All right. So here I am. Uh, I was thinking about it's strange when you meet somebody and your relationship with them is so much different than how you think about relationships with people. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I guess in some ways, relationships are so different in terms of your perspective that you carry with another person. So like when I think about it's weird because it's gonna seem disingenuous, like I'm talking about my relationship with my wife in some like really superficial, way. But to be in a relationship with somebody, you need to know their like personality, I think, and you have to work with that. It's a lot deeper than just being with somebody, and I think that is something that I've been thinking about recently. Yesterday I posted, I had written down um, something in my notes. I really like my new phone because it has a stylus, and then if the phone is turned off and you open it, it'll automatic, or you turn and you pull out the stylus, it'll automatically open up your notepad so you can write a note. And so I had written, when you meet someone new, ask yourself who you're actually meeting, a personality or another soul in the space of awareness. It pays to be conscious of this small but powerful difference in our identification that enriches relationships and envelops lives. So this concept of personality, which is very ego driven, it's something you carry with you your entire life, and this other idea of soul or being, which is very separate and very not impersonal. And I thought, so coming back to this thing about my wife, um, I think about this girl that isn't my wife a lot. Not a lot, but I think about the way that we were together and how wholesome it was, how we interacted in a way that it it went beyond relationship. It went beyond personality, and it went beyond knowing each other a very personal way to a very impersonal way where we were just being together. And being together was something really powerful and special and unique. Um, I think that we appreciated the fact that we were just there. And I got very much that vibe from her that she was just in the state of being, and I was there with her, being that state of being. Um, I think that is a really powerful thing to think about how we are together versus who we are together, like who we are husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, friends, partners, all these different labels that you put on things. It just goes beyond that. And so to be with someone in that space, I think it's very similarly when you're with a child. You can go beyond that physical barrier or that relational barrier of like, oh, this is my son, like you're just with your child. And when you're with your child, there's no need to put a label on it because you're just there. Just like when you're really really with somebody, you don't think about what are we, you just are that. But the longer you delve into relation and you think about, well, who am I to this person, or who is this person to me, um, it becomes a lot more. Um, it sorry, let me back up. It doesn't become a lot more. You create the dynamic where you need to put some sort of identification on it, and so with this girl, Lauren was her name. She was really, a really interesting person, and just so, I had so much of a flower child. But I think that that was unique, and unfortunately, it didn't work out, you know. She lived like 20-30 minutes away from me, and that was a lot because it was like kind of COVID time, like right before COVID happened, and it was a lot to drive up there and see her every weekend. I didn't have that kind of money. I was, barely surviving at that point, and so yeah, it took a lot to get to that, to that place. But when I was with her, it was like, I don't know. It was like there was no cost, the cost of being there was just time, and the time was, you know, uh, it was amazing. And so I don't know. I just think about that all the time and think about what that type of relationship is, and to go back to that space and to be that space for another person is really interesting. And when I hear Ram Dass talk about being an environment for another person where they don't have to do something, they don't have to be something for you, you just are in that space together. Um, it's a very, very interesting. Not from like an intellectual standpoint, not like, oh, I want to delve into this, or I want to really like hold this, material sensation. But it, rather than having a material sensation, you are the material sensation being. And you could very much say that love is an immaterial, you know, uh, thing that you do and you are for other people. And so I just think about that a lot. I think about what that means, to be together rather than to be something with someone. Just to be with someone is, we're talking about effortless action. That's what it is. To be effortlessly with someone. And maybe because she was so new, because she was so unique and so lovely in that way, maybe it was lust. And in reality, nothing's really that special, or everyone is that special. But because you've normalized, some concept of somebody being something, it starts to become less unique day to day. I guess I think about like really falling in love with Katie, and what that meant to be with somebody, with her for the first time, and really in love with her. You don't replace that. And I've found in recent times, maybe like, I want to like coming back to appreciate what a relationship is and what love is, and like spending that time in the space of love where we're not just living our day-to-day lives, but we're living every moment together. Oh, I gotta go to work. Oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Like, all very real things, in the sense of our daily activities, which are obligatory and necessary to get by. Because I don't just live in a bubble of love. I live in a world filled with choices and obligations and all of these other things. And so you can't always live in love. If you live in love, you'd have to be taken care of 24/7. And those people would need to love you. And they would need to care for you so much that all of your physical needs would be met, so you could meet their emotional needs, their spiritual needs. And I don't think that there's a society built for that right now. At least not in the Western world. But I think about love and what that means. And what does love really mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to be so in love with somebody that that you would do anything for them. You would put yourself through 40 hours of labor a week to be able to provide for them. I guess it's with kids, right? You do whatever you can. Okay, I'll come in, I'll sit down and color with you. You would willingly stop your activity to humor them because you love them that deeply. You would travel hours, every week just to ensure that they had you there. You would, there's so all these actions that I'm talking about are just actions, of course. They're just actions. But ultimately the intention is the love, right? And so I just think about that, and I think about it all. And I guess in a lot of ways, I'm always going to keep thinking about what it means to be in love, and how we in the world and I in my life provide love to the people that I care about. So it's a lot, and I'm gonna have to think about it. I'm gonna have to continue to ruminate over it, and maybe recording this, maybe talking about it, maybe discussing it. And when I think about it and the way that the words are coming out of my mouth, like, obviously I've said a lot of interesting things to myself about the way that I'm framing these understandings. And if someone else heard this, maybe they'd have a different take. If my wife heard it, maybe she'd be like, I can't believe you talked about that girl like that. Like, are you really in love with me? Like, so much doubt. Because when you hear someone's thoughts, when you hear someone's comprehension about the world that they live in, we've all got such different perceptions about these things. And so it's always a question of, well, am I really loved? Am I really, there's doubt. There's doubt that's stirred up. And to doubt your own love and to doubt your own experience is so common. It's not even it is common, but to doubt your own understanding when you hear someone else's perceptions is just like, it is it's almost expected, but it also just, it's so human to have that feeling. It's so human to question whether or not you have everything you need, or if people really are who you think they are. And what I think we learn is people are not who we think they are. Oftentimes people are always changing, and they're never going to be who you think they are. And until you learn to drop your expectations of this view, of who people should be or who you need to be for people, it takes a lot of time. And we as a society, we don't live in that space. Not enough. We as an American society don't live in that space at all. We don't know what it is to be with somebody like that. We don't. We've never known what it is to be with somebody like that. And I think that it's going to take a really long time to really truly understand that. And so it's a thing to appreciate and a thing to kind of wonder at. And so all this to say, this may never be seen. And so this is just for me. And whether or not it is seen doesn't matter either. I love my wife, and maybe at that time I also loved Lauren, and it didn't last, and love doesn't last, not forever. People can change, people can change, and who we love changes, and how we love changes. And so I think it's a very important thing to remember that your expectations change. And every day, you know, we'll come to this precipice where we look at the world, we look at the people that we're with, and we say, did I love this person the way that I should? And maybe we learn that we didn't, you know? And you forgive yourself. You just forgive yourself, you know? You forgive the people that you've met. You forgive the people that you've run into, because you're always changing. You're always changing, and you're always learning to love something new. You're learning to love something different than what you've known in the past. And it's perfect. It's the perfect opportunity every single moment, every single second, just to be with yourself, just to be with other people, and just to appreciate what it is to be in a space together. Who cares who they are, you know? Who cares who they really are, you know, in there, or who they think they are, at least, because who they really are is that's the person you want to be with. You know, I guess in some ways, let me get a drink of water here. I guess in some ways, I think about my wife, and she always wants to talk about her past. And it's kind of funny in a way, because I think about her and I don't even care about her past. And that's really hard for her to kind of hard for her to deal with, you know, at a personal level. It's hard for her to deal with. She's like, oh, you know, and so I made a little how do I say this? New Year's resolution coming into 2025, which I wrote after I made a video to my son and to my wife on the 31st of December. But I said, you know, you know, let's ask each other questions about our lives, and you know, just to kind of meet her where she is. And I think that is something really powerful, to meet someone exactly where they are. Now, whether you can see past personality or you can't see past personality, and all you see is just who they think they are, meet them there. Meet them in that space and say, wow, you're very interesting. You know, oh, you're so special to me, you know, Katie. It's just funny. It's just so funny to realize that who people think they are is just so powerful to them. And if you can meet them behind that, meet them behind who they think they are, it opens so many doors. But if you can meet someone who they think they are, and you can say, you okay, sweetheart. Oh, thank you. You know, maybe not be so glib about it, you know, glib. What's glib? Glib is negative in a way. Don't be so tongue-in-cheek about it, but is that what glib means? Let's look it up. Glib. Insincere and shallow. Don't be, yeah, I think I used the word right. Fluent and voluble. She was careful not to let the answer sound too glib. Yeah, slick, pat. Yeah, smooth talking. So don't be so glib, you know, about your response to other people in their own being. Just meet them where they are. And I think that can have its negatives. You know, you can have some troubles with that sometimes. But yeah, I'm really glad I made this video. I'm glad I recorded this, and this will go unlisted on my YouTube channel somewhere. and maybe forever. I don't know. It's so crazy when I think about who I am in the world, and I'm nobody, you know? No one cares about me. You find this video somewhere, and you figure out like who you think you are, who you're meant to be, and uh then you look at this video and you kind of question, like you kind of question. At least I think, you know, I if I were to watch this back, I'd have so many questions about, what I was saying and why I was saying it, because ultimately at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Just sitting here talking over some music, this Aussie surf rock. One of my favorite bands right now is it's called Vacations, and does this playlist keep changing? It is changing as I'm playing it, but yeah, Vacations. They're from Australia. They're touring right now, and they're gonna be in San Diego in April. But I don't live in San Diego anymore. I don't live there, so makes me a little sad because they their music has been really, really I've enjoyed it a lot, and I think that the more contemplative I get, coming full circle back to a very contemplative Zach from 5 years ago, about this time, to be honest. I really, really dove into myself, and I found someone that had a lot of questions and was really uncertain about the future and uncertain about who I wanted to be. And to learn, I think that I to learn that I'm a lot different than I used to be, but I'm also so much more than I used to be. I'm so much more. Like, we're all so much more. And I think that changed everything. So, you know, thinking about this whole conversation, this whole topic, of seeing people, personalities, seeing souls, and seeing love for what it is, whether it's back in the, pre-COVID days, or it's sitting with your child, or it's, the patience of love that you display in your day-to-day life with your mother-in-law, it, you can take your time, and you can learn to be more than what you are, at least what you think you are, because there's a lot of you in the world. There's a lot of time to figure it out. So take your time and be patient with yourself, and be patient with your loved ones, and even the people you don't know you love yet. Like, you don't know it yet, but you love people. You love people you've never even met. You see them on the streets, and you may not love them intimately, but there's something about every single person you meet that you can fall in love with. And I continue to try to remind myself that I can love anyone, and people can love me, and I'm lovable, not in a way that, like, people are going to give me their shirts off their back, but to be able to see through these concepts, divisions, of all sorts, and just to be in the space of being, and just to love that, just to love being with another person, and then the sky's the limit. So I really have enjoyed this, and I want to continue to rest in that space. So you know, it takes a long time. It took a long time, and it has taken a long time for me to be here, to be clear enough. I think in some ways, visually, I just thought of ice, with air bubbles in it. If you want clear ice, you have to boil the water. If you want like bubbleless ice, if you want to get all the air out, you have to boil the water, and then you put the hot water into the ice trays, then put it in the freezer. It actually cools down faster when the water is hot, and it also comes out completely clear because all of the, I don't know, gases are bubbled out. I don't know. Ask a chemist or something. But I think to reflect on what that metaphor is, is like sometimes we need a little heat and a little time, and then when we put ourselves into the freezer, to cure overnight, there's a lot of clarity in there. And the last 5 years have taught me that the fires that we go through, the pain that we tolerate is I don't know, it's all worthwhile, and it's all really useful. And maybe this is just bullshit, I'm just talking out of my ass, but there's something so powerful about the journey that we take as human beings, and also beyond that. One of my favorite Reddit posts I ever found was this guy. I wonder if I think it's in my favorites. Here we go. Yeah, this post, it changed a lot too. I don't know when I found it. He posted it January 3rd, 2023. This guy, Anti-Rebel, anti-rebel.org is his website. There are two parts of me. Once upon a time, in early adulthood, I was driving down the road with two friends during the summer. There was a brief reprieve from full throttle partying, a transitory moment between day festivities and night festivities. We were riding in silence, windows down, enjoying the golden hour breeze. My friend, who was riding shotgun, suddenly announced to the car, "There are two parts of me." These words immediately captured us. We couldn't know what was coming, but we knew it would be an attempt to summarize his entire life in two parts, no simple feat. He piqued our curiosity following a long pause, the same way Steve Jobs might allude to a product before showing it. We listened intently, anticipation at full climax for his revelation. There are two parts of me, the first part and the second part. 10 seconds later, when I was sure that was the end of the thought, I burst out laughing. Pretty sure I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" That line killed me because it was so pithy and underwhelming. Like seeing someone square up for a basketball shot and then hurl it 6 feet wide of the backboard. He wasn't trying to be funny or wise or profound. It was simply him caught in a moment of realization, unleashing a stream of consciousness. A moment of deep reflection in his eye, of a debaucherous hurricane. But I'd never forgotten that quote. The more time goes on, the more I appreciate the truth. Its truth, reflecting on it like a Zen koan, exploring its empty space. 15 years later, indeed it seems there are two parts of him, to me, to all of us. The first part and the second part. There was a part of me that took decades to appreciate. one who is fully satisfying, needs nothing, wants nothing, is unbelievably happy and grateful to be here, experiencing. This part of me takes infinite comfort in the knowledge that this is the moment, right now, is as amazing as any other moment I can possibly experience. What a relief. There's nothing to do. Whatever time I have left in life, I need not worry about using that time to fulfill or accomplish or satisfy anything or anyone. No necessity to experience this or that. Life is always complete. There is a second part of me who exists out in the world, interacts with all the people, all the things, all the desires, emotions, struggles, challenges, expressions. This part fully feels the highs and lows, the appetites, the satisfaction of novelty and exploration, of becoming, accomplishing, striving, doing, the story of my life. Which part of me is here sharing this? Both. Both parts are ever present. The one part of me, the part which knows everything is okay, is the sky. The experiencing part of me, who feels the spectrum of moment to moment existence, who is fully zoomed in or contracted around the intricacies and richness of each moment, are the clouds. My music turned off because my son and my mother-in-law are upstairs listening to music on the Spotify. A dilemma in life is feeling immersed in the clouds while almost totally missing the sky. The emotions and feelings and the cacophony of infinite stimulation which can take us on wild rides. We fixate urgently on the future or regrets. We obsess with our story and the difference between how we see it today versus how we wish it to be tomorrow. We grab at or flee from various states and state experiences and states of mind, implicitly hungry for some ultimate experience. We are enchanted by one particular cloud or another, forgetting that we are also the sky, and remembering that all the clouds, good or bad, are simply passing by. There is no story we need to force in one direction or another, no ultimate experience we need to conjure. Everything is fine already, always has been. Perhaps, then, the greatest achievement in a person's life, both for their sake and the rest of the world's, is to notice this, to step back, to be the sky, and to smile at the futility of incessant yearning. There, forward, life can be engaged with lightness. One can see everything and everyone with great compassion because they know how confounding this human condition can be. They can offer what they have to others and need minimally, if anything, in return. Always feeling the joy of this special epiphany, holding it as the greatest treasure in life. And sure, they can continue to indulge and strive and yearn as much as they please, but can do so with the comfort of knowing this it isn't vital. They are already fulfilled. So please consider there are two parts of you, the first part and the second part, sky and clouds. Beware of seeing only one and missing the other. And then he dedicates to his reflective friend Jerome and leaves with a quote. Our minds are a vast space containing everything. We focus on where there is movement, some pattern. Eventually, we grow tired of this pattern and feel enough. We can return it to a frame that is instead very wide, the infinite container, and not the particulars, the patterns, the movements. The world is always big, even if it feels small. Quote by James Lowe. You know, I I haven't read that in quite a while. Obviously, posted in 2023, but I I always really appreciate that, and I appreciate the time it took for him to write it, and the time it takes for me to read it, because it gives me a chance to just remember that we have two parts of us, and maybe it's not the personality side, maybe it's that deeper, always there, ever present being. Um, but I I always appreciate it, and I hope you appreciated it. And that's all I've got. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. If you made it this whole way, um, let me know. I don't think there's anything left to say. I mean, even if you commented, what would you say? Wow, very deep, Zach. Very deep. I don't know, man. What would you say? What could you say to this moment right now? We're just here. So, and I guess that's the point, is we're just here. And there's nothing left to say. Like, dude, brush your hair or something. I don't know. Like you still got to go to work in the day. You still got to go and live your life. And you still have to be here every single day. You still have to live your life and you have to be part of this thing. So I guess there's something to say, and that's see you next time.